The responses on your video were great.
They were. Did that video?
You went viral.
I know, it's so silly because it's like I feel like that's of all of the stuff that I've ever put out there, that's probably gotten the most traction as far as video goes.
Yeah.
And it's just like it was just like for fun, just entertainment.
Yeah, and I think the choice of the materials that you use.
Yes.
Go away, child. These are mine now.
Exactly. Exactly.
But it was so visual.
Yeah.
Um, on that topic,
Yeah.
there are a lot of people that are using video now in their feed
Mhm.
to come across. Um, what's your opinion about that? Because I have a strong, I'm getting a strong opinion that's going the other way.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I personally, I don't mind there being media. What I do care about is what it's about. And I find a lot of like self-promotion videos, kind of like you'd see on Facebook and Instagram, where it's like just them, self-help, whatever. That to me, I don't like it. It's a little bit of a turnoff. But I have seen video where it's more maybe more like interview style, like what's his name, Randy Vander something, forget his last name. There's a few people that do it, and I'm like, oh, that's enjoyable, but
Yeah,
probably that's 20%.
yeah.
What do you think?
What I think, um, what I what turns me off is if people use it to portray themselves and just to be out there and just to be noticed, how they look and how they talk and how their day is. Um, it's something different if you're excited about a venue, if you're there and just we're just opening and that you take a shot. That I like. But if it's just you getting some coffee and yeah, shooting a breeze at your conversation, and those car videos that people tend to shoot, I I don't like those, because if I see somebody posting that kind of material 3 times, I click up unfollow, and because I don't want those people in my feed.
Yeah. Yep.
And if I look at the feed, the postings that my eyes are drawn to nowadays are the more textual postings and not the videos. The videos I scroll because if I'm in an environment I don't want to hear them or somebody else to hear, and I don't want yeah, the audio interrupting a conversation with somebody else, so I go past it.
Yep.
So I think it's shooting his the purpose for, how do you say that? It's going beyond its purpose.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think too, you can't have everybody be happy.
No.
And I think that some people, I mean, there are, with the amount of hundreds of millions of people on LinkedIn, there's people that love what we despise. And I think LinkedIn's role, what suits them best, is giving people what they like,
Yeah.
if other people don't. So I probably, just because of our similarities and our age and stuff, like I agree with you, but I don't think that the global community will stop
No.
doing what we dislike. I think that the best thing is for to let the digital groups and like networking, like, and who's following who, sort of just pan out
Yeah.
and give people what they like.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm portraying it upon myself and our customers. If the method is usable for them to get a bigger audience or getting more conversations, and I don't think if it's not based on passing knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
that it will contribute to more conversations about what they want. Um, Yeah, that's my opinion on B2B, like we are doing it. If you're in another kind of area, it will work maybe better.
Hmm. You know what else? Like the majority of people's lives while they're awake, Monday through Friday, the majority of their days spent working,
Hmm.
right? So what that means is commerce and business play like a super huge role in everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've gotten used to Facebook having so much material for entertainment, for personal, but the amount of my time that I spend professionally is a lot more hours than personally. And right, and I wonder if as people get used to, as people move to LinkedIn, I would just expect there to be a lot more professional media, a lot of
Hmm.
good stuff, a lot of crappy stuff, a lot more though.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're building a brand and if you are selling high value products, um, your appearance also on LinkedIn is how you convey yourself and how your audience is perceiving you.
Yeah, I saw the door open behind you.
Yeah. It's my, it's a cat that walked in.
That's hilarious.
um, where was I?
He threw you off.
Um, yeah, yeah. It's how you portray yourself and how do you want to be perceived. That's mainly the question. If it's part of your brand,
Hmm.
you can use it in that way. But I think it should be used in a manner that you can convey your authority and your knowledge.
Yeah. And you know, the news feed is mostly um, personal branding type stuff, right? I don't see a lot of company page material or school page material in my newsfeed unless it's paid.
Hmm.
And so the even just with how people, the things that people share are going to be more, I think, reflective of their personal brand, what they've got going on, rather than company level. And there's it gets a little gray when it's a small company with one or two people. You know, it's so they're so related. But
Yeah,
even I've got friends at big companies, and the stuff that they share is maybe not even reflective of their big company they work for, but it's their personal brand too.
yeah, yeah. It personalize you. That's true, and you can uh, use it to put a face on the character that's behind the company. That I can understand. That you want to use it to be more of a human company. That's something you can use. Um, and I still think because um, the way my customers poor for poor one for me too. The way the customers, our customers use LinkedIn, and what they are telling me is that they only look at the post for at people that they are personally connected to, that they have a personal interest in,
Yeah.
and not if somebody from a company they vaguely know, they don't check even, they don't check out that post. And if it's knowledge that they can use, then they will check out the post, and otherwise they will scroll through it.
I completely agree. You know, I was watching the LinkedIn marketing. It's like a thing, a division within LinkedIn, you know,
Hmm.
and they just did a live broadcast Tuesday morning. I was on the road and I was listening to it. They were talking about very similar things, but it was all about what is basically what you just said. What's the future of video role
Hmm.
professionally on LinkedIn? And they were talking about live and how people communicate. And it seems like what they were saying was there's a trend to communicate more by video, but in shorter bursts. And it's like it becomes very powerful when you can use video to create a human connection that's intentional and for relationships, right?
Hmm.
I completely agree with what you're saying. And like I have a couple clients that do video as their profession, they do corporate video.
Hmm.
And what's very powerful for them is to do a recording, a professional, awesome recording of them explaining something themselves where they're on camera. And then we've done things where we share it in the news feed, but it's always like boom, and then it's gone. Like the crisp video that I did, it was
Yeah,
funny. It'd be like 100 views, and then like a few hundred views, and then a lot, and then it's just always like, and then it goes away. Even the most viral piece ends up going away in the news feed.
yeah,
And all the people, there's not they don't take the time to go, oh hey, like I want to talk to you. But when you're using the same kind of video for the personal connection in a smaller quantity, more
hmm,
direct, so that you talk off LinkedIn, I think it's a video becomes very powerful. But that's a different kind of video.
yeah, yeah. It's a video to break the ice.
Yep. And it's gotten very common in sales to
Hmm.
have to do just a short intro video because you humanize yourself and it brings trust up. Like I think that's the big thing with the corporate video clients on our end is people see not only production quality, but they see that the person is not like this scary, sleazy salesman. It humanizes people so much more.
Yeah, yeah, and on that topic, I have two thoughts. You can go with a well-produced video, but if it's well produced, you get the feeling that it's orchestrated and the person is not real.
Yeah, totally.
And if you're in an environment, what I'm sitting in now, that's not really orchestrated, it makes you more human and more natural. And if it's a video like that, it's is minder orchestrated. Um, However, it can be offsetting for certain people because they expect everything is tip-top shaped in order.
Hmm. They were the LinkedIn marketing live videos talking about. They talked about the exact thing, and there was a video company involved, and they said that some of their clients actually intentionally do lower quality videos for the right audience
Yeah.
because of what you just said. So it's funny, it's weird.
Yeah. Um, this process we did it a year ago for some of our clients. We basically interviewed them on a venue and have them and their people just talking about their company and how they came to be in that company and what their vision is on the future. And we did that with not high tech gear, but just with a mobile phone.
Hmm.
And because it was so natural, it's a video that's watched every time because these were the directors of the company, and because it's it's it was a real introduction to the company, and the persons were not perceived as inapproachable anymore.
Yeah, that's totally true. And 10 years ago, I don't think that was true. Right? I think 10 years ago people they would trust higher production. And
Yeah.
now it's like the pendulum has swung to the other side and it's trending the other way. And I'm thinking in the moving forward, it'll change again.
Uh, Eventually, yeah, I think because now it's more natural and people want to have a feeling that they're talking to real people because there are so many digital ways to talk to each other. Um, I think people need the human connection at this point more than a digital one.
I agree totally.
So, and that's our basis, I think, for you and for me, that we based our company upon on that premise.
Yeah.
Um, and I think in the future it will shift another way.
I agree.
But I that's in 10 years, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what is the constant is like forever, even in the past, is people want that authentic connection with another human being. You know, and the culture and trends change and technology morphs, but what people I think was what they're really after deep down is like to be known and valued.
Yeah, recognized um, and belong somewhere with the peer group.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
I saw that you got some great questions
I
in
did. I
about
did.
ProFinder.
Yeah, well, the no questions came in about ProFinder.
Ah,
I just wanted to talk about it. So I'll probably I'll skip the intro on this one just because we jumped right into it.
yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about ProFinder. Have you ever messed with ProFinder before?
Not really. I dabbled with it a little bit, but that was when it first came out.
Hmm.
So I don't use it strategically.
Yeah, well, here's my experience. So, and again, there's hundreds of millions of people on LinkedIn, so the sample size that I have is obviously not representative of everything. But a few years ago, someone they told me, "Yeah, have you ever tried out ProFinder? I did it, got a couple small jobs, yada yada." And I was like, "Oh, ProFinder, what's that?" And so that I was like, I checked it out. That was my journey. So
Hmm.
I applied for ProFinder and they got rejected. And I was like, why did I get rejected? So they told me it was because they said I needed more recommendations, I needed more articles, and I needed the skills on my profile to match the service that I said I was providing.
So
And
basically, it's a quality mark.
exactly, they, to my knowledge, and I'll pull up the page here in a minute, but they actually manually review your application to become a ProFinder service provider.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so since then, that was a few years ago. And I would say for the last 2 years, I'd get maybe two or three requests a month. And I'm also in Kansas City, which is not New York City. So if I was
Hmm.
in a much larger town, the volume I'm sure would be higher. But also having access to other people's data as well,
Hmm.
it's similar. It hasn't been that big, but I think in the last month, I have definitely noticed an increase in the volume of
Hmm.
requests, but the quality of project is not really for me. It seems
Hmm.
like they're usually smaller jobs, um, one person companies with a budget of like 100 or $500 kind of thing. I don't really find an established company with a big budget doing ProFinder, at least not right now.
Hmm.
So my thoughts are, and I'll share a screen just to geek out in a minute. I think that LinkedIn understands the value of matching like client job requests or proposal requests with service providers. I'm thinking about how much money Upwork makes,
Hmm.
and all they're doing is being the middleman.
Yeah.
LinkedIn already has a bunch of people that are the same exact people. Why not start to monetize them? And what kind of triggered this for me was I have to pull this up on my phone because it's not available on desktop. I was just checking this morning, at least not yet. So I'll flip this around in 1 second. When I do share a post, do you see what that middle option is in the bottom there?
Yeah.
Does yours say find an expert? That's new to me. There's also share that you're hiring, and so both of those are money funnels for LinkedIn, right? If you want to hire someone, you can just do a post and say, "Hey, we're hiring," or you can pay to play with job post.
Yeah.
With ProFinder, you can submit the request for free, but to be able to answer that request with a proposal, you get we'll talk about this in a minute too. You get 10 freebies to reply to proposals, and then after that, you need a premium account.
Hmm.
So I think LinkedIn is moving that way to have their fingers in more channels that will, of course, impact their
Generate
volume.
revenue for them.
Yeah.
Did you reapply for ProFinder?
Yeah, I reapplied like a few days later, and I was accepted right away.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't.
because it's not really big at this moment.
Right.
But if you make an application right now, you're already on the bandwagon. And if they scrutinize or up their acceptance levels, then you're already in. So
That's totally true. And you know how what like 2 months ago ish they introduced the new search filter for service providers.
yeah,
I think that was this the same thing that's driving that, because in the past I have not really seen people use LinkedIn as a search engine for business services.
no. And if you're looking for a global connection platform for services, I think LinkedIn will be the most reliable source because you can check them out directly on LinkedIn. Because if you use another type of middleman, I always go back to LinkedIn to check out those people that I'm going to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So why not connect it? So I think they're really smart in that way and can monetize on that. I hope they only not only will do it for the small jobs.
Yeah, and I think what'll probably happen is the smaller the job, the less trust is required, right?
Yeah,
And I think that that's what we've seen up till now is an expensive. There's just not enough trust in the environment for matching service providers with RFPs. Yeah, requests for proposals. So
yeah,
many acronyms. I think there's just not been enough. There's not been enough trust to really have big jobs be requested at a high volume through ProFinder or whatever. Maybe LinkedIn even rebrands ProFinder into something else.
yeah.
You know?
If you can make a short list through ProFinder, so you can get 5 trustworthy companies, um, it kills a lot of research if the quality is good.
Yeah, that's very true. And it's also safe for LinkedIn because all they're doing is matching a job request or like a proposal request with service providers. They're
Yeah,
not facilitating the money transaction, the milestones, taking on any liability. It's
it's
I
an
wouldn't
extra
want
service.
yeah,
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to deal with all that as well. Like the legal liabilities and the money transfer that Upwork does, and there's a reason why they charge everybody so much.
yeah. And on the other hand, it shouldn't become Fiverr.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I think it'll grow. I think that LinkedIn's pushing it, especially with introducing service providers into the global search for free and premium accounts. It's not on
Hmm.
Sales Nav, but I think they're trying to change the mentality of the user base to this is something that they can do on LinkedIn.
Yeah, yeah. And if they try to push the quality of the people and that they want to share, they um, get their premium feeling back again, because I think it's now shifting more to a Facebook feel.
Mm-hmm.
And if they gear it more to business related, because that's why people are on LinkedIn, because it's a really great business to business and to find jobs.
Yep,
And I, it seems to be the right path for them, at least in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. And I do think that the more expensive the project, the less likely people will be to do the RFP through ProFinder. But it'll totally happen. It'll totally happen. I think
Yeah.
that there's still value in proactively pursuing your target audience
Hmm.
and preemptively being their go-to person.
Yeah.
Because if you already have that, why would you might do a ProFinder request, but the person who's at the top of the pile is the person you already know.
Yeah.
Like Jer. Should I share my screen? You want to see what ProFinder looks like?
Yeah.
So I'm logged in, obviously, which is why you can see my headshot
Hmm.
up here. And you've got my projects, so I could actually submit something here. Accounting, get started. Let's see. Ooh, bookkeeping,
Hmm.
continue. What is the accounting service for? LLC, less than 10 so far. What is your personal or oh my gosh, we're getting really personal. What's your personal or annual company income? Let's say
Yeah.
10 million plus because I want
That's
to about
that's
myself.
funny. That metric or that search you can put in Sales Navigator. How what's your company that
That's
will fill
true.
this? And
That's
here
true.
in the Netherlands, it's something that's completely useless because nobody put their metrics in there.
You know what? I wonder if they pull this info and add it to the company database that you can't really see it, but it's like I said, this is my annual revenue. I wonder if I submit it if there's a connect there to the company.
Yeah. It- the question is it allowed?
Yeah. Uh, do it now, ask for forgiveness later.
Hmm.
Okay, let's see. Within the next 2 weeks, continue. I only want to work in person. I can do virtual. Okay. Any other details? Boom. Get free proposals. There you go. That's what it looks like.
Uh,
That when submitting.
yeah. I think in the ProFinder terms and conditions, I think there will be stated the data you submitted we will add to our database.
Should I? No, I don't. That could be a bunny trail. I don't want to go down. I'll have to read that later.
Yeah.
If you're doing the request, that's what ProFinder looks like, and you don't need any kind of paid account to send out requests for proposals. Now, since I'm since I'm a verified ProFinder service provider, I'll have this, my client requests.
Yeah.
So these have all come in. I can view the request. It's going to be really similar to what I just kind of mock filled out there. Submit proposal. There's an optional checkbox here. My proposal includes a free 15-minute phone consultation, check or uncheck, or I'm not interested in this proposal, and then I can push send when I'm ready, which I'm not going to do for this guy.
Yeah.
My profile. So this is what my they pull it from your LinkedIn profile,
Yeah.
but this is how they would vet you. Settings. Oh, let's skip that.
Mm.
Contact us, FAQ. Yeah, so that's kind of what it looks like. And then let me do this. Kind of curious. I'm going to do the search for people, all filters. And then down here, service providers.
Yeah.
This is it's really at the bottom left corner. They're not giving it a lot of prominence in the search filter. I think that they're just seeing how it rolls out. And then they'll probably make improvements and then change it. I wouldn't be surprised if this either moves higher or goes elsewhere. If I go to marketing, apply, let's see, provides marketing, second. So I'm not seeing any way to like go directly to ProFinder, but it's so this is not there's not a direct connect from, or at least yet, from searching for service providers to seeing a list of verified people.
No.
At least not yet. At least not yet. And even right now, for you to be a service provider, like go back here, like here provides marketing services. This is different than being a verified ProFinder. But I think what's happening is LinkedIn is getting people used to the idea and making awareness that they can use LinkedIn to find professional services and find the solutions on LinkedIn. I think that is a move they're making. Interesting stuff. So I don't know. I'm happy that we do LinkedIn because I feel like there's a little bit more job security there now. All right. Any man, yeah, good conversation. Any other thoughts on that, Jared?
On ProFinder, at this moment, I don't see that it will generate a lot of business for a lot of people that are not in marketing, because the selection criteria are more like that. Bookkeeping I didn't see, or financial service I think will be the selection criteria for that bookkeeper that you filled out.
Let me actually, I should have done this earlier. There is a list of, I'm going to share my screen one more time. There's a list of options.
I don't know if the options are specific enough at this moment to get the right jobs in that's suited for the person.
So you've got design, 3D, interactive, visual, interior, ad, logo, web.
Okay.
Right, writing and editing, copywriting, translation. There's a lot of stuff in there. Accounting, which is what we just did earlier. Marketing.
Yeah. There are more specific. There's more specificity in there than I thought.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that when I joined on a couple years ago, this was a much smaller list.
Yeah.
For sure. And okay, while I'm on legal, so in the U.S., I'm not sure if this is the same in the Netherlands, but in the U.S., a lawyer cannot solicit. They have to rely on advertising and inbound, which really drives up cost.
Mm-hmm.
And what this would be a great avenue for legal, because people are asking for help.
Yeah, and not really advertising.
Yep. So when you think about for legal here, cost per click for law is very expensive because of the legal stuff. The legal stuff for lawyers, the ethical side. And if you're paying for premium, and there's a lot of legal RFPs, and you're paying $60 a month, that's, that can be maybe 7 clicks on Google, That could be a great avenue for law, software, IT services, business consulting, financial, coaching, insurance, home improvement, interior design, architecture, landscape, photography. Yeah, so all kinds of stuff. I think that I think they're putting some money into this.
Yeah, I think they're building it slowly and see how it goes. Like any software, put it out there and we adjust along the way.
Yep. Yeah, and as far as implementing strategy now, I think it's good to have access to ProFinder. But as far as the quality of leads that have come in, I have not seen anybody make a ton of money off of it yet. They're smaller jobs, but I do think that it'll pick up momentum.
Yeah, when they give more notice about it, if it's more robust, then I think it will be a good avenue to explore.
Yep, I completely agree. All right.
So,
well, we're actually at 40 minutes, so we'll have to get to the rest of the questions next week. This was really good stuff.
Yeah, it was a nice conversation.
It was.